Okay, back to the gold belly here. So I gave the Ferguson 20 diesel there a start this morning there, and it was grand. And I was walking out the shed and I said, you know what, I'll give the old gold belly a start as well. It's been very, very damp in here the last few evenings, and yeah, there was water hanging around all the engine. It started and then it was spluttering. So I did my little bit of investigation work, and it looks like we're not getting spark up to the spark plugs. So I tested the coil as well, took off that lead coming out of the coil, inerted it, turned over the engine, and we're not getting a great spark at all. So I don't know, is the coil on the way out? The spark in there is weak enough at the points. I cleaned them, flicked them with the screwdriver. So I said, you know what, hit the record button. This is usually a reliable little yoke, usually starts well, doesn't splutter when it's running. Used it, we got all that out of it, and then started spluttering today. Wouldn't run, only on a good bit of choke, which is strange for it now. So I said, let's go and investigate this, and maybe it might help someone else along the way who has similar symptoms. So we'll do exactly that now. We'll take off the coil, and we'll throw on another coil. It's an old 1960 Lucas coil, LA12, the one that would have been fitted to this. This is a newer style coil. I usually bring a spare coil anyway if I'm driving down the road at all, really. Anywhere outside the gates, really. So quality of these newer coils can be questionable. It's worked out in the earlier videos on this tractor. So look, we'll try and sort it and see. Simple things first. Took out the spark plug as well, hitched up the lead to it, earthed it, and it wasn't happy either, sparking at all. So it's something simple, but we'll get it. One thing about the petrol engines and the TVO engines, I suppose, fuel and spark, and they start, you know. The diesels can be a little harder to start. It's cool. It's not cool today now in fairness, but been a very, very, very damp week. So we'll horse on this other coil. She's dated 1960 there. We'll try and get it just to focus on there a little bit. So 460, so 4th of 60, and she's an LA12. So yeah, according to the workshop manual, that is what was fitted to the massive Ferguson 35 anyway. I can't find a workshop manual for the grey gold like this. The petrol engine, strange enough. I'm sure there's one out there. I would like to get one. Online one would be perfect even. Just flick through it and see what the proper coil was for it. Because I know that Ferguson 20 petrol and TVO had an older style, kind of a metal kind of a canister coil, rather than this kind of a, I think they're B12, in this kind of whatchamacallit, aluminium style one, a little bit more modern. I do have an old metal canister one there, but it's 6-fold. But if it turns out that that was kind of the shape and style that was used on this, I would like to get it gutted and get a 12 volt fitted into it. The workings of a 12 volt fitted into it, just to have it look right. Or there's every chance that this was the coil that they fitted on this engine. The Massey Ferguson 35 petrol engines, I think, were a little different. They had some kind of a breather coming off this in the pipe, so slightly different. But for purpose of this little exercise, all I want to do is just see if we can get her to start by changing the coil. That's all we want to do. We like to keep these old Collini now in a working condition. Oh, there's a bolt or nutter falling on the ground there. Just to get the little seal, the anti-slip washer off it there now. Could be a bit catchy. it there. So horse on our connection. Our connection looks good. Good and solid there. Good and tight going into the distributor. On with our anti-slip washer. Let's get the torch. Fresh petrol here as well. That could be some of it, some of the issue. But dare to say, I'll tell you one thing. There is some amount of dampness after falling off this engine, or running off the engine, cools it underneath the tractor, and that's what you get this time of year. You know, it's no big deal, but I don't think dampness is what is after causing this. Checked all of the distributor cap, and is that the right size for this? It'll be a little bit different with the Imperial. It'll be in 11/32. Lucas seemed to use them on the odd part. That's the one spanner I don't have. There we go. Yeah, this has generally been a very reliable tractor to start. So what happened was, it spluttered and spluttered, it wouldn't take over great, it had to be kept on revs and a bit of choke, and then when I went investigating in there, checking spark, cleaning the points, it actually stopped. It wouldn't start at all. So maybe it is just something there, maybe the condenser needs to be replaced. I have a few there, and I have been chopping and changing them, so maybe I just need to pick a better one, but we'll go through the simple things first. I know this coil works. Tested it during the summer there when I was pulling in a bit of stone with this tractor, and yeah, it seemed to do the trick. But I don't know how good it is. Okay, so that's that. So I'm just going to stop the recording there for a minute and just make a bit more space here. Okay, so we're down to the lead. So make sure that's all okay there. So I brought a scrap of sandpaper up over here. Just going to give all of this a quick little rub. Okay, so I'll give that connection there a little rub. These are leads I kind of made myself, so I know the quality that's in them. Okay, so these are screw-in leads. So one goes in the top there, I think. It's important to get the long one into the coil. I'll just take it out again, make sure we have the long one going in actually. Whichever one's longest has to go into the coil. Yeah, I was wrong. So that's alright. Otherwise the spark will have to jump to get to the lead, and we'll be wasting their spark. Okay, so turn on our fuel and just try it straight away and see if that makes a difference. I don't think it's going to make a difference personally. I think there's something else going on, but we'll just see. Dare say I managed to fry a coil literally, and I'm only running 3 minutes. No, so that's all right. But we have taken the coil out of the equation. We know this one definitely works as well. Now I could test the coil, put the multimeter there as well, and have it off and make sure it has the right resistance. Just get that just to hang there, and just might do a little air test on it there. Be so kind as to stay there. Hardly going to go jumping that much now, but just to get it just to sit there. Probably too far away, I'd say, no? Coming out. Level chances, he probably isn't going to go jumping there. No, it's too far away. Let me see. Can we try something else? Just wanted to hang somewhere near an earth. See if we can get her to jump. Should be able to jump a nice bit, really. No, so we're dead. Okay, so that is something. Turn off the fuel just in case we end up flooding things. So we're talking probably something in the distributor that's causing a little bit of issues. So, I'm just going to get the multimeter and check a few things. And, our ignition there, it's off. We'll just have a little look in here. Our carbon lad is there anyway. Checked him already. This is all nice and clean, both sides. Quick rub of sandpaper is usually all that takes. All our connections in our distributor cap here are brass connections in this one. That's why I use it. I got rid of the new distributor cap, and I said no, let's go and use the brass one. The new ones are kind of aluminium and they get kind of all flaky and dusty and that kind of white kind of crap on them. So that's no good. So what else could it be? The connection going into the distributor there, that's a little bit dicey. Could that be it? Have all our insulating washers in place. Yeah, we do. Okay. Yes, there's a bit of mess in there, but I preferred to actually put a bolt-on connection and an earth on that particular condenser. Someone kind of stripped the threads in the screw in the back there. You can just see the head there. So by the time you had it going through the bracket and you had a washer on it, it wasn't getting a great grip. So I said no, just put that on without any washer to get a good grip and take the earth off this one. That's good. So that's why that's there, but I'm fairly sure that's doing its thing, and I just put that there with a bit of rubber just to stop it from earthing. It used to be earthing from there to the casing, so I prefer to earth obviously to where it's anchored there, where it's bolted to. So once that's okay there, seems to be, we're happy enough. We'll just try it for a spark. Make sure we have that much happening on the low, whatever you call it, the low power side of the distributor. I just want to screw this back in as well. It's kind of going in, not going in straight there. Now that's it. Okay, so let's get a flick of a screwdriver there. Yeah, do that. Let's see where do we have any form of a spark. Yeah, there's definitely some form of a spark there anyway. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, so what could be the issue? Is it that carbon brush is sticking down too far and it's not rubbing the rotor arm in the right place? Could that be it? I did replace the spring on it to make a good connection on it. It was a longer spring. Could that be the issue? When I'm putting that distributor cap on, that it's pushing that out of the way. So let's see what sort of... It's definitely on it there now. Make sure it comes out of the way. Try and sit it down nice and straight. Could be something as simple as that, and I just need to go and put on a shorter spring maybe. Is that any better? Petrol tank could be full of condensation. Watery petrol, I drained a good bit of it out, maybe that's... Okay, maybe that was all it was. It does make sense, alright, because it was literally acting up as soon as I took off the distributor cap. Doesn't sound too healthy there. This is what it was doing when it started earlier on. Not happy ticking over, so misfiring. Could be the condenser. Something definitely a miss on it anyway. Doesn't sound too bad when it's revved, but definitely not the way it usually runs. If we give it a small bit of choke, comes out of it. Maybe it's a weak spark or fueling, but less bit of condensation got to it. You'd imagine it had gone through it by now. Nice fresh petrol in it. Not happy there, is it? And I didn't mess with the main jet or anything on it. When you give it a rev, it's okay. Not happier on the low tick over there. not happy when you go in on the idle jet anyway. But it's happier when you come out, which is strange because that was always set to run very well. Yeah, so there's something gone wrong. Maybe there's a bit of dirt in the carb in one of them jets. Yeah. It's a strange one now. Okay, well it's revved. We're charging. I think. Yeah, light's going completely out. I wonder now, is that idle jet just a little bit dirty? Maybe a bit of carb cleaner sprayed through it might help. Giving it a bit of juice there now seems to help it. Just screw it right out. Let it just suck a bit of air through, it might clear itself. Now screw it back in. Not happy now, so back out a bit. Screw it out again. The vacuum might clear it. There's our vacuum there now. Screw it back in. No, not happy to run slow at all. Not interested. Just like that. Anyway, it'll run with revs. So I'll do a little bit more investigation, we'll see. Maybe just flush the tank completely and fill it full of fresh petrol. Okay, so we have it running again. I just wanted to test this coil. So I have the wire off there and it's just touching that little stud there. So we turn on our ignition and I got a grand spark over there, so I'm going to show you there. The spark, you should see it handy enough now. Grand blue spark. Left hand isn't. So that's definitely a spark. If we move it a little bit here, we'll get it a spark off the side of the coil as well. I'll just use my right hand here because I'm flicking the points there with my left hand. It's too far away maybe. Let's see, is that any better? A bit closer. It was sparking savage there. There we go. So that's definitely working. Yeah, so I think the issue I have here as well is this rotor, this the little carbon rod that hits the rotor there is I fitted a big spring into that to get a good strong connection on the rotor arm, and I think sometimes it's a little bit misaligned. It's not exactly perfectly straight, but look, it was running like that for a long time, like, so running fine with it. I remember I drove to an agricultural show there not too long ago, and that was a fair amount of driving involved in it, like, so yeah, that's that old coil definitely working anyway. So fitting the cap, I just like to try and make sure it's let it down onto the distributor nice and straight, so that that's lined up. So yeah, I'd say now we're winning with the spark there anyway, whatever was going on. I kind of am slowly starting to think that the issue here, I think, was the fuel level was low, petrol, and with the condensation we had, I mean, it's all over the floor, dripping off the tractors here. This week it's just been, especially yesterday there, we had this real kind of crappy mist kind of falling there, and it just clings to everything. So we'll just try it for a quick start there. It's been, has me start for about an hour, so we'll just see. I'm after putting in a bit of fresh fuel. I think that could be a lot of it as well. The other fuel, just a little bit stale, and I'd say there's a bit of condensation after going on with it as well. So we'll just try it and see. Sounds like it's burning a bit better there now. I did give this pipe a quick tighten up as well, just in case there was air getting in. Very important. If it's sucking air there, it's never going to run right. Yeah, I'm happy enough with that. Revs per minute. Maybe the sparkles could do with a little clean. Just listening to the exhaust, there's a odd little pop out of it. Used to do that. Where it sounds the happiest. Screw it in too much and the idle jet, it just richens it. Screw it out too much, it goes too lean. You just find where she's happy. Well, the best test for that, of course, is to bring it up to temperature and then do it, and that's what you're really meant to do. But what I like to do is set it at any point, and then when it's hot, just give it a little screw in or out. So to test the main jet, we'll do this now. We'll just adjust the main jet, right? I'm going to lean off the mixture, give it a rev, and it'll splutter. And then I just screw it back in until it stops spluttering. So that's about a quarter turn leaned. Just sounds a little bit hesitant there. So what we'll do is we'll lean it even more. Oh, you hear that? It's gone a little bit flat. So. I usually find it likes a certain kind of the little dot on the end of it there. hard to see it just there, and I usually find about 6 o'clock on that yoke. Seems to be about right. So we're back running anyway. Whatever the hell was wrong with it, I can put back my old coil now as well one of the days. Maybe not as sweet as it was running, but a little bit up and downy there. Say the idle jet probably needs a little more. The idle jet screwed fully in, so that's definitely, you know, not ideal to say to start on one turn out. Here's a half turn out. There's two. It doesn't sound happy at all there. A little bit better there. The revs have gone up a little bit there as well, so it's happier, I think. Just listening to the exhaust. Just below 600 revs there now. Cooling temperatures coming up. So when you screw it in, and you start screwing in the screw, you'll hear this starting to, hear the exhaust getting a bit rich. You hear it there starting to labour. You'll screw it back out, like that. And hear it just levelling out a little bit. A little bit more. A little bit more. Until I hear a little misfire, and then I bring it back in. Bit of nice there, but we'll go too far. There's a bit of full turn extra, it should start spitting now. There you go, there's the spit. There's Just leave it for a second. There's another spit, so back in, quarter turn. Another spit, back in, another 8 turn. Come out a little bit more. I find in this car, it really is fine art to get it right. I had it right for months. Of course I went messing with it, but I have a feeling it was just a bit of condensation in the petrol that was causing all these issues. We're up to temperature, I think. Yeah, we're up to 82 degrees there on the engine is up to temperature. We can do the proper adjustment of this idle jet now. Give it a little rev. Like 600 revs. It does say go a little bit lower. The old camshaft rattling a bit. So 500 revs. Now we're getting the spitting. And we're back in. Another spit, and we're back in. Does sound like it's running too rich there, so let's try it out. I find this engine used to be like this for a long time. Spitting. I managed to get it out of it. When you go messing with it again. Screw it out a bit more here. So it's not happy. In the owner's manual, it does say just one turn out on this idle jet. I always find this tractor likes it a good bit more than one. Like you can hear there, it's starting to run a little bit too rich. Labouring a bit. Like that. So maybe the ignition system needs a little service as well, a proper clean of the points. If you clean up the spark plugs, maybe they took one out, it didn't look too bad. Because I used to have this intermittent spitting before and it just rectified itself. Probably through doing something. I don't exactly know what rectified it. Being honest, that spitting there, I don't know. And I find when I richen it up, then it doesn't go out of it. It only starts running too rich. I remember spending some amount of hours at this, but it's usually fine when you rev it. Even there, about 800 revs. In or around. Could be wrong, could start spitting again, but I always find it seems to be right around that. Yeah, it's still a little spluttery, so just going to be a little bit of time needed to run through things again and get it right. Nothing too serious, but I said I'd record it anyway. I'm just after finishing a bit of a video on that there, on the spring and the governor. And yesterday, when I went to start this, after I started that 20 diesel, it was a little bit out of character. It wasn't really happy ticking over at all. And to put it down to maybe the carbon brush in there being, whatever way I fitted the distributor cap, I just kind of had that kind of, not in contact with the rotor arm or something like that maybe, because I wasn't getting spark to the plugs then after I did try and investigate things. So I threw on the other coil thinking it might have been that, because the coil that was on it wasn't sparking to the block. We got that one to spark to the block. The old coil, the other one that was on it was probably grand. I also put it down to the fact that I don't keep a lot of petrol in the tank in this, because I think petrol stays fresher in a sealed can like that. I think when you have it in a fuel tank, because it's vented at the top through the cap, it can get a little bit stale, and then of course you have a lot of condensation. And the other evening we had a serious amount of condensation. There was actually a lot of water under the tractor. So another thing, the last time I had a relative up here, we bought this and my own 20 diesel for a spin, and this was a little bit, when you let up the clutch, it would go into a flat spot and then the governor would kick in. But that's because I was messing with the governor. I said, no, I'm still not happy with the governor, so I did something different. I changed the setting a little bit on it, and it was not the right thing to do. And I left it until I went driving that day, and so I just want to, I've loosened off the 7/16 lock nut on it there, and I screw this out a little bit till I feel no resistance. And I screw it back in, feeling resistance there, so it's pointing towards 2 o'clock. Some people say give it 1 turn. There's a half turn, loosen the lock up a bit more. Right, I saying in the workshop area, they say 1 turn. So there's 1 turn. I know other people on YouTube say 2. Well, anyway, something you can play around with, but I think I must have had it too loose. And there was too much free play in there, and you let up the clutch, and the engine was dying, and then it would kick in. So I have the throttle rod off. I should probably have mentioned that. I have the throttle rod off on the side here. So that's off. So that's not affecting any pressure on the governor spring. So I'll just bring around the work lamp there so we can see what's going on. Oh, the governor on these, if you ask me, can be a bloody fine art. I find it hard now to get them to set up properly. And then the other 20 petrol, the Ferguson 20 petrol I had years ago, there was no problem at all. So that should go in there then, fairly handy. Looks like it's lining up nicely. Just to keep it pushed back into the ticking over position. I put a little bush in there, so there's very little free play in it at all. And then the lad on top there, you want just a little bit of pressure pushing down on that, and that all helps keep her pushed back into ticking over position. So this will be a cold start, so we'll see what it does. See is there any improvement. Put some fresh petrol in it. I have a feeling that's probably what was wrong with it. Bit of condensation and a small amount of petrol watered it down, and it was happy enough ticking over. Happy enough rev, but not happy ticking over. So we'll just see is it any better, is it improved, or if it even starts at all. Feeling there was something going on in the distributor cap there. Feeling I was the reason for that fault. But anyway, let's see. Bit of rev, it's cold in here, so a bit of choke. Ignition. Tick over. That's 800 revs, so not exactly what you call ticking over. sounds good. And of course with these, when they're cold, when the engine is cold, you can't expect it to tick over straight away, of course. Near 600 revs per minute. Definitely cold, I can tell you that much for nothing. And you know by these as well, the exhaust is always louder when they're colder. Did spend a bit of time yesterday even messing around with the carb. Don't know if that was the greatest idea because I spent long enough trying to get it running right. And I do find the idle jet on this one is very fussy. It's very hard to get it to find the right point between running too rich and too lean. It's very hard to find on this. But she's definitely firing on all cylinders there now anyway. See if we can get it tick over a little lower. .500 revs per minute. The fan belt's too thin on this, I've realised, so I'm going to order one. Just like with the same problem we have with my 20 diesel. You can hear it screeching away in there. So we'll get the proper 19mm or whatever it is. That's only something like a 14mm, I've realised. So another easy little job to do sometime. So it seems happy enough. As I said, it's not a warm evening. It'll be interesting to see how it actually drives. Is that governor any better? I think it's fair to say she's definitely burning anyway. She's burning well. I don't know, is it a success or not? I see the rear crankshaft seal on this now does need to be done at some point. The engine was meant to have been done up a couple of years ago and was left then sitting for a long time. Done by Rings of County Cork, and I believe they did exist years ago. But you just don't know who to believe if it actually was. This engine was meant to be done up as well. When I actually contacted the person that did it, it took me a while to find out who they were, but when I did, they said they didn't do the whole engine at all. They only did bits of it, and they obviously didn't tell me that they broke 2 piston rings putting the engine back together, but I found that out the hard way. So that had to get fully redone. In an ideal world, I'd like to get this fully done as well, because I think it's a good little tractor and I think it deserves it. Another job I would like to do is to get this bushed and to get the throttle bushed as well. I think on the throttle you only have to bush the other side, if I'm not mistaken, because this is blanked. So it'd be worth doing that. I did a little bit of tightening up on it with a new throttle rod and an O-ring and stuff like that, and I don't think it's really letting in any air. I'm giving it a wiggle there. Doesn't seem to be spitting or anything, so it is worth making sure that that's nice and sealed. So get your carb cleaner, give it a little spray, make sure that it isn't drawing anything. If it's drawing anything there, you'll hear it. It doesn't seem to be. And you can do the same with the carb gasket there as well on the intake manifold. Just don't do it when the engine's getting too hot, just in case it does go on fire. But no, I think that sounds good enough. Could be back to normal now, please God. That's just something I said I'd record, because it isn't, since I've owned it and I've done a lot of work on it, it always does seem to start and run very well. And I don't like leave it in a state where it's not reliable. Because at this time of the year, the evenings are short, the weather's bad a lot of the time, and if there is a nice Sunday afternoon, I might want to bring it for a spin. And I want it to be in condition where you turn the key, make sure there's fuel in it, and go. So I think that sounds fairly good. Now, before when it got hot, it did start spitting, so I don't know if that's just down to a bit of carb tuning. As I said, it took me a long time to get it tuned right. But I think we'll call that running well. So I'm going to leave it there for this video. Because there hasn't been a video on this in a long time. So hopefully it might help someone anyway if they're running into some similar issues. So anyway, until the next time, take care and slán go fóill.